My brother and his wife emptied my house while I was at work. They left a note saying we need it more. 3 days later, they were crying outside my door. My name is Whitney, and I'm 42 years old. I have a younger brother named Maxwell. He's 32 now. When I was 25 and Maxwell was 15, our parents died in a plane crash. It was sudden and devastating. One moment they were heading to a business conference in Chicago, and the next moment they were gone. After their death, someone had to take care of Maxwell. He was just a kid. Our aunts and uncles didn't want to do it. They all had their own families, their own problems. Nobody wanted the responsibility of raising a teenager. So I took him in. I became his legal guardian. I was working a regular accounting job at the time, making decent money, but nothing special. Suddenly, I had to support 2 people instead of 1. I did everything I could for Maxwell. I worked overtime whenever possible. I took freelance bookkeeping jobs on weekends. I wanted him to have a good life even though our parents were gone. I bought Maxwell nice clothes from department stores. I made sure he had the latest iPhone and a good laptop for school. I threw him big birthday parties every year with all his friends. I never wanted him to feel like he was missing out because our parents were dead. I saved money for his college. When the time came, I paid for everything. Tuition, books, housing, all of it. I also bought him a Honda Civic so he could get to campus easily. Meanwhile, I wore clothes from Target and skipped buying things for myself. I ate ramen noodles and frozen dinners. I never went on vacation. After Maxwell graduated from college with a business degree, he got a job at a marketing firm and moved out. But he couldn't afford rent on his own, so I paid for his apartment in downtown Seattle. Every month, I sent him $1,000. He always thanked me. He'd call me and say how grateful he was for everything I'd done. He'd tell me I was the best sister in the world. I believed him. Then Maxwell met Cassandra. They dated for 5 years and got engaged. I paid for their wedding. It was expensive, over $22,000. But I wanted Maxwell to be happy. Right after the wedding, I gave Maxwell money for a down payment on a house. $35,000. He and Cassandra bought a nice place in Bellevue with a 2-car garage and a backyard. I thought everything was fine. I thought Maxwell and I had a strong relationship. But things started changing after he married Cassandra. She started coming over to my house all the time. At first, I thought she just wanted to spend time with me, get to know me better. But then I noticed something strange. Every time she visited, she'd ask to borrow something. A cardigan, a pair of boots, a leather jacket. We wore the same size, which made it easy for her. "Can I borrow this for a few days?" she'd say. "I have this work function coming up." "Sure," I'd say. I didn't mind sharing at first. But she never returned anything. Weeks would go by and I wouldn't get my clothes back. Finally, I'd text her, "Hey, can I get my blazer back?" She'd reply, "Oh, I forgot. I'll bring it next time." Or she'd say, "I can't find it. I think I left it at my sister's house." But next time never came, and the items were never found. After a few months, I'd lost at least 10 pieces of clothing to Cassandra. Nice things too. Things I'd saved up to buy. A cashmere sweater. Designer jeans. A Michael Kors purse. One day, I confronted her about it. She was at my house again, eyeing a new suede jacket I'd just bought. "Cassandra, you still have my navy blouse," I said. "And my black slacks and that sweater I lent you in March. I'm not lending you anything else until you return what you already have." Her face got red. "Are you serious right now? You're being so petty." "I'm not being petty," I said. "I'm asking for my things back." Maxwell walked into the room. "What's going on?" "Your sister is making a big deal out of nothing," Cassandra said. "I borrowed a few things and she's acting like I stole them." "Whitney, come on," Maxwell said. "Don't make a scene. Just give her the stuff. You have plenty of clothes." I stared at him. "She never returns anything I lend her." "So what?" Maxwell said. "You can afford to buy more." I wanted to argue, But I didn't. I didn't want to fight with my brother. So I kept quiet. After that, I stopped letting Cassandra borrow anything. She'd ask and I'd make excuses. Oh, that's in the wash. I'm actually wearing that tomorrow. She stopped coming over as much. Recently, I finally had enough money to renovate my house. I'd been saving for years. I got new furniture from Pottery Barn, new stainless steel appliances, everything. I also replaced the locks on my front door with better ones, a whole smart lock system. My old furniture and appliances were still in good condition. I'd always taken good care of my things. I thought Maxwell and Cassandra might want them for their new house since they just moved in and their place was still pretty empty. I called Maxwell. Hey, I just got new furniture and appliances. You want my old stuff? My sectional sofa, my dining table, my refrigerator. All of it works fine. I just wanted to upgrade. There was a pause, then Cassandra's voice in the background. Tell her we don't want her hammer-downs. Maxwell came back on the line. Sorry, Whitney. We are not interested. We have other plans for our house. We want everything new. Okay, I said. No problem. I was a little hurt, but I didn't show it. I just donated everything to Goodwill and sold some items cheap at a garage sale. A week later, I came home from work around 6 in the evening and noticed something strange. The lock on my front door was broken. The door was slightly open. My heart started pounding. Someone had broken into my house. I pushed the door open carefully and walked inside. The house was empty. Not just empty of people. Empty of everything. My new furniture was gone. My new appliances were gone. My television, my dishes, everything I just bought. All of it was missing. I felt like I was going to pass out. I'd been robbed. Everything I'd saved for, everything I just bought was gone. Then I saw a piece of paper taped to the wall. I walked over and read it. It was a note in Maxwell's handwriting. Whitney, we took your furniture and appliances to our house. We need it more than you do. You can buy more stuff later. Thanks, Maxwell. I was still standing there holding Maxwell's note when someone knocked on my door. It was my neighbor from across the street, Mrs. Rodriguez. She was an older woman, maybe 65. Whitney, she said, are you okay? I saw your door was open. Mrs. Rodriguez came inside and looked around. Oh my God, everything's gone. It was Maxwell, I said. I showed her the note. She read it and her face got angry. I saw him here this afternoon. He had a U-Haul truck. He was loading things out of your house. I went over and asked him what he was doing. He said you told him he could take whatever he wanted for his new place, so I didn't think anything of it. I'm so sorry, Whitney. It's not your fault, I said. He lied to you. Mrs. Rodriguez looked upset. I have a Ring doorbell camera. It recorded everything. I can give you the video if you need it. Yes, I said. I need it. Thank you. She went home and came back with a flash drive. I was glad I had the video, but I was mad at myself for not having my own security system. I'd heard about break-ins in our neighborhood, but I'd never gotten around to installing cameras or an alarm. But I had other proof. I had all the receipts for my new furniture and appliances. I'd taken photos of everything when it was first delivered. The furniture had been custom-made for me, designed specifically for my house, and I had bank statements showing all the payments. I called Maxwell immediately. He answered on the second ring. Hey, Whitney, he said. He sounded cheerful. Bring everything back, I said. You stole my furniture and appliances. Bring it all back immediately. I didn't steal anything, Maxwell said. I took some things you didn't need. You can buy more. You broke my lock, I said. You took everything without asking. That's theft. Come on, Whitney. Don't be dramatic. Then I heard Cassandra's voice. Give me the phone. There was a rustling sound. Then Cassandra was on the line. You should be ashamed of yourself, she was yelling. You have money. We don't. We can barely afford our mortgage. This was our chance to make our house nice. You stole from me, I said. We didn't steal, Cassandra said. We borrowed. And you know what? We already had contractors come to install built-in shelving around your entertainment center. So we can't return it anyway. You have 3 days, I said. Bring everything back or I'm calling the police. Cassandra laughed. You won't call the police on your own brother. She hung up on me. I sat there shaking. I'd spent 17 years raising Maxwell. I'd given him everything. And this was how he repaid me. I opened my banking app on my phone. I found the automatic payment I'd set up for Maxwell's mortgage. $1,000 every month. I'd been paying it for over a year. I cancelled it effective immediately. The next morning, I went to see my lawyer. His name was Robert Harrison, and I'd used him for some business matters before. I told him everything that had happened. I showed him the note, the video, the photos, the receipts. Robert listened carefully. This is clear-cut theft. But let's do this right. First, document everything. Take photos of the broken lock. Write down exactly what's missing. Then we wait 3 days just like you said. If he doesn't return your property, we file a police report. Robert wrote an official letter to Maxwell right there in his office. The letter stated that Maxwell had 3 days to return all stolen property or face legal action. We sent it by certified mail to make sure it was delivered. I went home and waited. 3 days passed. That's all Maxwell had. I heard nothing from him. No calls, no texts, no apology. Nothing. On the 4th day, I went to the police station and filed a theft report. I brought all my evidence. The officer took my statement and said they'd investigate. A few hours later, my phone rang. It was Maxwell. I could hear him yelling before I even put the phone to my ear. What did you do? He screamed. The police just showed up at our house. They detained us. They're going to question us. Are you insane? Cassandra was yelling in the background. You're ruining our lives. You had 3 days to return my things, I said. You chose not to. Whitney, please, Maxwell said. Stop this. We'll bring everything back. Just drop the charges. No, I said. I hung up. An hour later, Robert called me. The police want to meet with you. Maxwell and Cassandra are at the station. They're asking to speak with you. Robert and I went to the police station together. They took us to a small room. Maxwell and Cassandra were already there, sitting at a table with a detective. Maxwell looked terrible. His eyes were red. Cassandra was crying. Whitney, Maxwell said. Please drop the charges. We'll return everything today. You should have returned it 4 days ago when I asked, I said. We made a mistake, Cassandra said. She was sobbing. We are sorry. Please don't do this to us. I looked at Maxwell. My little brother. The kid I'd raised. The person I'd sacrificed everything for. I'm not dropping the charges, I said. You'll return my property because the law requires it. But I'm done with you. You betrayed me. I turned and walked out. Robert followed me. 2 days later, I got a call from Robert. Maxwell and Cassandra had been released on bail. They'd confessed to everything and made a deal with the prosecutor. A court date was set for the following month. At the trial, the judge heard all the evidence. The video, the receipts, the photos, everything. Maxwell and Cassandra sat there looking miserable. The judge sentenced them to probation and fined them $2,000 each. He also ordered them to return all my property immediately and pay for the damage they'd caused to my lock, my hardwood floor, and my front porch railing where they dragged furniture. After the trial ended, I went back to Robert's office. I need to change my will, I said. Everything was left to Maxwell. I want to remove him completely. I'm setting up a charitable trust. When I die, everything goes to children's charities and education funds. Robert nodded. I'll draw up the paperwork and send Maxwell a notice. I want him to know he's not my heir anymore. 2 days after I changed my will, Robert sent the official notice to Maxwell. It stated clearly that he was no longer my heir and that all my assets would go to a charitable trust fund after my death. I was at home that evening when I heard pounding on my front door. Loud, angry pounding. I looked through the peephole. It was Maxwell and Cassandra. I opened the door but kept the chain lock on. "What do you want?" "You changed your will," Maxwell shouted. His face was red. "Are you serious? I'm your only family. Everything should go to me." "You stole from me," I said. "You broke into my house. You took everything I owned. Why would I leave you anything?" "That was a mistake," Maxwell said. "We already apologized." "No, you didn't," I said. "You never apologized. You only returned my things because the court ordered you to." Cassandra pushed forward. "I'm pregnant." She was crying. "We are having a baby. You're going to be an aunt. Don't you care about your niece or nephew?" I looked at her. "Congratulations on the baby. But that doesn't change what you did." "You're so cruel," Cassandra said. "You called the police on us. You made us go to court. You humiliated us. And now you're taking away our inheritance." "It was never your inheritance," I said. "It's my money. I earned it. I get to decide what happens to it." "We need that money," Cassandra said. "We can barely pay our bills." "That's not my problem," I said. Maxwell grabbed the door. "Change your will back. You owe me." "I owe you," I said. I felt anger rising in my chest. "I raised you. I paid for everything. Your clothes, your food, your college, your car, your apartment, your wedding, your house down payment. I gave you 17 years of my life and you think I owe you more?" "You were supposed to take care of me," Maxwell said. "That was your job." "My job was to raise you until you were 18, I said. "I did that and kept going for 14 more years. I gave you everything and you repaid me by stealing from me." "We made one mistake," Cassandra said. "You made many mistakes," I said. "Cassandra never returned any of my clothes. You both refused my old furniture and then stole my new furniture. You broke into my house. You damaged my property. And you've never once genuinely apologized." "Fine," Maxwell said. "I'm sorry. Is that what you want to hear?" "It's too late," I said. "I'm done. Don't contact me again. If you keep harassing me, I'll get a restraining order." I closed the door and locked it. They pounded on it for a few more minutes, but I ignored them. Eventually, they left. The next week, I had a security system installed in my house. Cameras outside and a full alarm system with motion sensors. I should have done it years ago. My furniture and appliances were all returned just like the court ordered. Everything was back in its place. My house looked normal again. But I didn't feel normal. I felt empty. I'd lost my brother. The only family I had left. Some days I wondered if I'd been too harsh. But then I'd remember coming home to an empty house. I'd remember Maxwell's note saying he'd taken my things because he needed them more. I'd remember Cassandra telling me I should be ashamed for wanting my own property back. No, I hadn't been too harsh. I'd been too lenient for too long. A few weeks later, my aunt called me. My mom's older sister. "Whitney, I need to talk to you about Maxwell," she said. "He and Cassandra came to see me. They're very upset about what happened between you two." "I'm sure they are," I said. "He asked me to help him reconcile with you," she said. "He says he wants to apologize properly." "He had plenty of chances to apologize," I said. "He chose not to." "Whitney, he's your brother," my aunt said. "Family is important." "He didn't think family was important when he broke into my house," I said. "People make mistakes," my aunt said. "This wasn't a mistake," I said. "It was a choice. He chose to steal from me. He chose to lie to me. He chose to prioritize his own needs over our relationship." My aunt sighed. "What do you want me to tell him?" "Tell him I don't want to reconcile," I said. "Tell him I'm done. I spent 17 years taking care of him. I gave up everything for him and he didn't appreciate any of it. I'm not doing it anymore. My aunt was quiet for a moment. Okay, I'll tell him. After I hung up, I sat there thinking about my life. I was 42 years old. I'd spent the last 17 years focused entirely on Maxwell. I'd never traveled abroad. I'd never dated seriously. I'd never done anything for myself. Maybe it was time to change that. I opened my laptop and started looking at vacation packages. Beach resorts in Maui, wine tours in Napa Valley, road trips along the Pacific Coast Highway. All the places I'd never been because I was too busy working to support Maxwell. I picked a resort in Maui. 2 weeks, all-inclusive. I booked it right there. When I told my friend Jenna about it, she was thrilled. Finally, she said, you deserve a vacation. You've been working non-stop for years. I know, I said. I think it's time I started living for myself. What about Maxwell? Jenna asked. Have you heard from him? No, I said. And I don't want to. That chapter of my life is over. Good, Jenna said. He took advantage of you for too long. She was right. Maxwell had taken advantage of me, and I'd let him because I loved him. Because I thought that's what family did for each other. But real family doesn't steal from you. Real family doesn't betray you. Real family appreciates what you do for them. Maxwell wasn't real family. Not anymore. I was done sacrificing myself for someone who didn't value me. It was time to focus on my own life. Time to do the things I'd always wanted to do. The weeks passed and my life started to feel different. Lighter somehow. Like I'd been carrying a heavy weight for years and finally put it down. I didn't hear from Maxwell or Cassandra. They'd stopped calling, stopped texting, stopped showing up at my door. The restraining order threat had worked. My security system was fully installed now. Cameras covered every angle of my house. An alarm would go off if anyone tried to break in. I finally felt safe in my own home. All my furniture and appliances were back where they belonged. Everything looked exactly like it had before Maxwell stole it. But it felt different now. It felt truly mine. Nobody could take it from me again. I went to work every day like normal. But I stopped working overtime. I stopped taking on extra projects. My co-workers noticed the change. You seem different, one of them said. Happier. I am happier, I said. And it was true. I started doing things I'd never done before. I joined a hiking group. I took a photography class. I went out to brunch with friends instead of staying home to save money. I bought myself nice clothes. Real nice clothes from Nordstrom, not the clearance racks at discount stores. I got my hair done at an expensive salon downtown. I treated myself to massage therapy sessions. For the first time in nearly 2 decades, I was living for me. My trip to Maui was coming up in a few weeks. I was so excited I could barely sleep. I'd bought new swimsuits, new sundresses, new sandals. Everything was planned. Then my uncle called. My dad's older brother. Whitney, I heard what happened with Maxwell, he said. He wanted me to talk to you. I'm not interested, I said. Just hear me out, my uncle said. He's your brother. He made mistakes, but his family. He stole from me, I said. He broke into my house and took everything I owned. I know, my uncle said. And that was wrong. But maybe you could give him another chance. Why? I said. So he can steal from me again? So Cassandra can take more of my things and never return them? No thanks. He has a baby on the way, my uncle said. Don't you want to be in your niece or nephew's life? I thought about that. Maxwell's baby. My brother's child. No, I said. I don't. That baby has 2 parents. They can raise it themselves just like I raised Maxwell. You're being very cold, my uncle said. I'm being realistic, I said. Maxwell never appreciated anything I did for him. He took and never gave anything back. I'm done being taken advantage of. He's struggling financially, my uncle said. Without your help, he and Cassandra are having a hard time. Good, I said. Maybe they'll learn to budget. Maybe they'll learn to live within their means. I had to do it while supporting both of us. They can figure it out. After he hung up, I sat there thinking. Everyone wanted me to forgive Maxwell. My aunt, my uncle, probably other relatives I hadn't heard from yet. But none of them understood what I'd been through. None of them had raised Maxwell. None of them had sacrificed their entire adult life for him. None of them had come home to find their house empty because he'd robbed them. They didn't get to tell me how to feel. I looked around my house. My beautiful, newly renovated house. The house I'd worked so hard for. The house that was finally truly mine. Maxwell would never step foot in here again. Cassandra would never take another piece of my clothing. They were out of my life permanently. And I was okay with that. More than okay. I was relieved. A few days before my Maui trip, Jenna came over for dinner. I cooked salmon and asparagus, and we sat in my dining room eating and talking. "Have you heard anything from Maxwell?" she asked. "No," I said, "and I hope I never do." "Do you think he's learned his lesson?" Jenna asked. "I don't know," I said. "And honestly, I don't care. He's not my problem anymore." "You seem really at peace with everything," Jenna said. "I am," I said. "For the first time in 17 years, I'm free. I can do whatever I want. I can spend my money on myself. I can make my own choices without worrying about how it affects Maxwell." "What are you going to do with all that freedom?" Jenna asked. I smiled. "Everything. I'm going to travel. I'm going to date. I'm going to figure out who I am outside of being Maxwell's sister." That night after Jenna left, I sat on my couch and thought about the past. All those years of sacrifice. All those nights working overtime. All those times I said no to friends because I had to save money for Maxwell. I'd given him the best life I could. I'd loved him with everything I had. And he'd thrown it all away by stealing from me. But I wasn't angry anymore. I was just done. Done being taken advantage of. Done putting someone else first. Done living for anyone but myself. Maxwell had made his choice when he broke into my house. He'd chosen money over family. He'd chosen his own needs over our relationship. And now I was making my choice. I was choosing myself. The Maui trip was incredible. I spent 2 weeks on the beach reading novels and drinking mai tais. I went snorkeling and saw sea turtles. I took a sunrise tour of Haleakala National Park. Ate fresh poke bowls and shaved ice. I met interesting people from all over the world. I felt like myself for the first time in years. Not Maxwell's sister. Not Maxwell's caretaker. Just Whitney. When I came back, I felt refreshed and ready for whatever came next. Maybe I'd start dating. Maybe I'd take more trips. Maybe I'd focus on my career in a new way, finally go for that management position. Whatever I did, it would be for me. Not for Maxwell. Not for anyone else. Just me. And that felt wonderful. I never spoke to Maxwell again. I heard through relatives that he and Cassandra had their baby, a little girl named Brooklyn. I heard they were struggling with money but managing somehow. I didn't feel guilty. I didn't feel obligated to help. I just felt nothing. They'd made their choices. I'd made mine. And I was finally, truly happy.